I really love a Christmas cake. For me, it kind of signals the start of your food prep. Hi, my name's Andrew. I'm a chef tutor here at the Waitrose Cookery School. I'm going to show you how to ice your Christmas cake and get a lovely, smooth, professional finish. So we're going to start off, we've got a lovely rich fruit cake, so it's been maturing for a couple of months. I'm going to use a turntable to decorate mine, but you don't have to have this at home. It does make life a little bit easier, but it's very achievable without as well. So just with a bread knife, a shaving off the top, and it's a good chance to nibble a little bit of Christmas cake. Make sure you've got rid of all of those crumbs before you start actually icing the cake. So we're going to flip it over, and that means it sits nice and flat against the board. And then we've got this bowl of apricot jam, which has been warmed and sieved just to make it really nice and smooth. So pastry brush, it only needs to be a thin layer of jam straight over the top, and we are going to go around the sides as well just to make sure that our marzipan really sticks to the side. So nice clean surface, a sieve and some icing sugar, and we're just going to give a nice dusting of icing sugar. I have 500 grams of marzipan. I always go a little bit more than you need. That way you're going to get a thicker layer, less likely to crack, and it's just easier to work with. What I'm starting off with is giving it a really good knead. It makes it nice and soft and nice and pliable as well. Once you've kneaded your dough, shape it into a round. I always say if you start with a round, you tend to end up with a round. And then we're going to dust it with a bit of icing sugar over the top, and then also over my rolling pin. And I do prefer a plastic or silicone rolling pin. You do get a smoother finish. So when we're rolling, nice open palms, and every couple of rolls we're turning the marzipan, and that's what's going to give you the round between a sort of 4 or 5 mil, so just under half a centimetre. And when I'm rolling, I'm not going right over the edge, because if I do that, I'm going to end up with thin edges, and we want an even thickness. So best way of telling if you've got a big enough circle is by using a little bit of string, and we're going to measure over the cake. And this is going to give us the size that we want, and you can just kind of take it all the way around, and you want to go larger than this bit of string. So it just needs a little bit more, and then we're ready to go. The easiest way of getting it from the work surface to the cake is if you just fold it over and then lift, and then just let it hang slightly lower, and then just unroll over the cake. Once you've got it on the cake, first thing you're going to do is use your cake smoother. You can still get a relatively good finish without one, but it does give you a slightly more professional finish. So start off on the top, and then we go to our trusty tools, our hands, and I'm lifting up the marzipan and pushing it in, and then my left hand is cupping it down onto the cake. When you get to this point here where it's starting to crease, just lift it out and then back in. That's the goal, is no creases, but if you get the odd little crease, you can usually smooth it out with your cake smoother. At this point, you can cut off just the large excess, just to make it a little bit easier to work with. So before we cut it right close up against the cake, we want to use our cake smoother, and we're just gently going around close to the base of the cake, and that's going to give us our line for us to cut against. So once we've done that, we're going to use either a sharp knife or a butter knife, and the best angle for you to be is looking straight down onto the cake. So keep it nice and straight, and I'm slowly turning the turntable, or if you don't have a turntable, you're just slowly moving the cake on your work surface. So just to get that corner nice and smooth, is this part of your hand that you're going to use, dusted with a little icing sugar, and a medium pressure. You're not squashing the cake. Nice little bit of pressure, and that gives you a lovely smooth finish. We'll have a quick clear down for our work surface. Again, we're going to dust the work surface with our icing sugar. So this is my white fondant icing. We're going to use slightly more than the marzipan, so it's going to be around 700 grams. And we're going to repeat the process of kneading the fondant. And trust me, it is so worthwhile doing this just for a couple of minutes, making it really nice and smooth and pliable. So we want a nice dusting of icing sugar. We can afford to go a little thicker here, so the marzipan was around sort of 3 or 4 mils. This will be closer to 1/2 centimetre. I think we are nearly there. We're going to use that string trick again, just to make sure we've got the right amount of icing. We've got plenty, so that's great. Now for the icing to adhere to the marzipan, we just need, either you can do a little bit of clear alcohol or just some water, which is what I've got here. I've just dipped it into the water once, may need to dip it in once more, but that's it. Really not too much. You don't want it soaking wet. It's always a good idea not to wear a particularly hairy jumper for this. And we're just gonna fold it over and then let it hang slightly below the cake over one side and then roll it over. So there's just a little air pocket in the top here, so you can just pop a pin in and just work it out. So it's a medium pressure again. You're not squashing it down, working our way around, just bringing up the icing and pushing it in. You don't want to just kind of push it in because it's likely to tear or crack. So we're being gentle, just giving it a border still at this stage. So we've still got something to work with. So repeating the same process. So taking the cake smoother around, and that's showing me then where I need to cut. So having the knife nice and upright, slowly moving your turntable, and we'll do that smoothing using the palm of my hand. Nice bit of pressure, and then a little over the top. So that is your iced Christmas cake, which you can serve just like that, or you can add a ribbon. And if you are adding a ribbon, the best way to stick it to the cake is just running it under the tap, just some cold water, run it through, and just squeeze off any excess water. And that will just help it to stick to the cake without the need for a pin. And just wrap it around, and there you are. So this is just a classic way to celebrate Christmas. Iced Christmas cake with a lovely professional smooth finish and a little ribbon.